Lots to talk about in today's video here, and we're going to be talking about Jared Goff getting a lot of love from NFL players and coaches. Where was he ranked per them? It's just going to be shocking. You're going to like it right there. Also, we're going to be talking about Levi Onwuzurike, expectations for this year. Does he need to prove himself with, injuries, and it's time for him to show up. So we're going to talk about Levi in this one. And we're going to talk about the situation that occurred yesterday for a little bit, even though this is not a political channel and it's not politics I'm going to be talking about, but we definitely got to talk about it for a minute. Let's get this thing started right now. Will the Lions make the Super Bowl? Why for yes and for no? Blow up your thoughts in the comments right now. Before we get into the video, I just wanted to do a quick touch about what occurred yesterday. I don't do politics on here, but there was casualties. There was attempting to delete a presidential candidate, former president. And I gotta say, it's horrible. We never want to see stuff like this. I don't care if you're left or right or middle or indifferent. This is unacceptable. We should be able to talk with somebody who you disagree with, not have to take them out. It's just unacceptable. And I'm proud of you guys, at least on this channel. We don't talk politics here. And even though we're in live streams a lot, even though we're connected a lot, my subscriber, at least that I've known, is very professional. They would never take it that way about ending lives or deleting. So I'm thankful you guys for 5 years of being very responsible, mature adults. I appreciate you, and thank you so much. And again, prayers up to everybody involved. Again, this is not political. They're human beings out there, and thank God that former President Trump was not deleted, because if he was deleted, I think today would be a much different day, and it would be chaos. And so I'm very happy that didn't happen. There will be investigations, see what occurred. But again, prayers to everybody out there. And please continue to make this channel not political. But if a situation like this occurs, I will address it, because as somebody who is faith-based, as well as love just being here in the United States, and obviously I just want to put my put on there and protect everybody, and prayers and up to everybody involved in that thing. The man that lost his life and the family members, that's horrible. And so we'll see in the coming days, but prayers up for them. Now we're about to get into the Lions, but again, will the Lions make the Super Bowl? Why for yes and for no? Let's get into a rival scout, what they're saying about our beloved Detroit Lions. His offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson, has done a great job with Jared Goff, transforming his confidence and efficiency. A rival scout raved at the Lions offense. The play calling expertise is huge, plus the Detroit has one of the top receivers in the NFL in St. Brown. I think Jameson Williams is going to be a big factor this year. Sam Laporte has a great draft pick by general manager Brad Holmes. Penei Sewell is about as the only right tackle in the NFL. That's the class of Lane Johnson. Frank Ragnow is one tough customer and a center. And he talked about the defense here. His decision to draft Aiden Hutchinson keeps paying dividends. His all-out style makes the defense go. Gotta say that linebacker group is rock solid with Alex Anzalone, Jack Campbell, Derek Barnes. Signing DJ Reader gives this defense a real two-gap presence. He's massive and hard to move. Hard to find a better young safety tandem than Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph. Drafting Terrion Arnold fixes one corner spot. Carlton Davis III is another story together. He's been shaky lately. I like the depth they've added with Ennis Rakestraw Jr., rival scout. They're talking about the Detroit Lions, and this team is real. And I agree with the rival scouts. And it's really good to see unbiased opinion. When you're talking about scouts, they're simply looking for talent, right? They're trying to better their team. They scout all players. It's not just like, well, they just scouted the Green Bay Packers players who they drafted. No, all the teams scout the players, and this guy is telling you that this team is legit good, and it is. It's a legit Super Bowl contender. It is a good team. Why is he correct? He talks about the players whom the Lions drafted, basically, right? You're talking about talent, and that's what he deals with, and he sees the talent on this football team. And he says, this is a squared away, good team, no doubt about it. And he is correct. Brad Holmes has done a magnificent job identifying talent and bringing them to this football team to where the Lions last year won the NFC North and darn near came to a Super Bowl. It's not a fluke. This is not a one-year wonder. This team is good. The depth is magnificent. And this team is going to be competing for Super Bowls for the foreseeable future. And, we've seen what the general manager of the Green Bay Packers said about the Lions. He was upset that we drafted Terry Allen. He was salty. Negativity. Some Lions content creators got into it and actually believe what he's saying because there's anonymous GM, and we found out that it was the Packers. They're jelly and they're upset. This guy, this scout, is not trying to have an agenda. He's simply saying this team is really good, and it has a lot of talent, and it's going to be difficult for the Detroit Lions to be stopped. And that's just facts. So question for you, just like we started this show, will the Lions be in the Super Bowl this year? Y for yes and for no. Blow up the comment section. Now we're going to get in here to talk about top 5 quarterbacks done by players and coaches. And this is for the NFC. And they did their top 5 quarterbacks. It's always good to get your information from players and coaches, not media. So I take this list far above any other lists. When the players and coaches do it, I always listen to those lists. They're the most important ones. They play the game. They're on the field. They see the players. They're involved. They have to scheme and prep for games. So these guys are legit. So let's get into the top 5 here in the NFC, not the NFL. Top 5, they have Jordan Love as the top 5 quarterback in the NFC. Jordan Love started out rough last year, but he finished really strong. He won playoff game, and I have zero problem by putting Jordan Love at number 5 in the NFC. He does possess skills, and he's a good quarterback. Now, look, can it change? Yeah, for sure, but I do agree with this. Number 4, they got Brock Purdy as the number 4 NFC quarterback, and he got to a Super Bowl. He wins games, and he wins playoff games. As much as you want to say, well, is he the best quarterback or anything like that, I think that that's perfectly fine to have that type of conversation where he ranks. But when you win playoff games, you get to a Super Bowl, and I don't care where you're drafted, you deserve to be on this list. It's all about the play. In my opinion, it's all about the postseason, how a player does in postseason. The next one I completely disagree with. Dak Prescott is the 3rd best quarterback in the NFC. Again, I go on playoff victories, and I would put Brock Purdy and Jordan Love. Well, Jordan Love maybe not, but I'd put Brock Purdy ahead of Dak Prescott because he's done it in the big situations. Don't believe he should be the number 3, but that's just my opinion. Number 2 quarterback in the NFC. Lions quarterback Jared Goff, named as the number 2 quarterback in the NFC by players and coaches. That's awesome because we have seen top 10 rankings in Jared Goff, usually 16 or out of the top 10. All of this, and how many times have we been telling you that Jared Goff is better than what the media gives him credit for? I've said this about Matthew Stafford when he was a Lion. He was a terrible quarterback in Detroit, but all of a sudden, as soon as he got traded, he was a top quarterback. That's just what the media does. So I like this, and I appreciate it, and I'm sure Jared Goff is thankful for him to be the number 2 quarterback ranked in the NFC. And number 1, Matthew Stafford. Now you say, Mike, you're always putting Jared Goff above Stafford for the Detroit Lions, I would. Right now, for the Detroit Lions. Just because he has won playoff games, he did it. I have no problem if they want to put him as the best quarterback in the NFC because he's won a Super Bowl. As much as, it doesn't matter if you hate Stafford, like Stafford, love him, whatever. You just got to go by the facts that he did win a Super Bowl. And when the players decide to put him up that high, I have no problem with it because playoff victories and Super Bowl. he's got a hell of an arm. But look, if you wanted to put Jared Goff one or switch it up, that's perfectly fine. But this is a good ranking besides really the Dak Prescott, in my opinion. And I'm not upset at all. I think this is pretty sound. And, generally speaking, you look at rankings, you kind of switch them out and be like, what? I think Dak Prescott may be the only what here. I'd probably put him at... I'd probably put Brock Purdy ahead of him and even a Jalen Hurts, who's not even on this list, which is funny. So, that's interesting. So I got a question for you. What positional battle are you watching for training camp? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below on this one. Let's get into an article that POD did, and I 100% agree. If the Lions general manager Brad Holmes' first draft class, he invested capital in the trenches early and often. With the first pick, he drafted all-pro tackle Penei Sewell. And in the third round, he used the 73rd pick to get in Lee McNeil. Then obviously, in the second round, the player we don't talk about a lot is Levi Onwuzurike, who has not played a whole lot, and they're saying he needs to step up. And I fully agree, and I'm going to give Levi some credit here. I think he will step up. And his ability to fight through a fusion on the spine is miraculous and amazing to his work ethic and his mentality of how he thinks and operates as a player. This guy is mentally tougher than tough, and I do think that he has something to prove this year. He's going to do it. I really do. If you can make it through a fusion, get back in the field and play, there's nothing that you can't do, and I wish Levi all the success and luck this year, and I'm rooting for him, and I hope every Lions fan is rooting for Levi Onwuzurike. It's inspirational. Again, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell. Where do you rank Jared Goff in the NFC 1 through 16? All of that stuff. Again, prayers up to what occurred yesterday. Everybody involved. Remember, there was kids there. There was people there that witnessed this. That is traumatizing. So it's not cool that occurred yesterday. Anybody that says, oh, I wish it did occur and all that type of stuff, you have no idea what you're talking about. And it's ludicrous when we're talking about ending lives. So prayers out to everybody out there. I hope we get closer as a nation after this and stop with the division. We just got to stop. Well, with that said, folks, adios.